Good morning, good afternoon, and good day, wherever you may be joining us from. Welcome to another edition of Sales TV Live. Today, we're asking, who's on your board? We're joined by Syya Yasotornrat. How'd I do? All right.
Perfect. You did
With a
it.
career spanning corporate sales, digital strategy, and content creation, Syya has learned firsthand how a strong network of mentors fuels success. Her approach challenges the lone wolf mindset often found in sales. She offers a practical strategy for long term growth and adaptability. Syya, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And Adam here too. This is like, you guys have made my Tuesday for sure.
Fantastic. Like,
Fantastic.
like all your birthdays have come at once, eh?
It is. Woo! Happy birthday to me. Okay.
Syya, let's start by having you tell us just a little bit more about you, your background, and what led you to where you are today.
You know what's so funny? Whenever I hear that question, the first thing that comes out of my head is if you guys are of a certain age, you would know the movie The Jerk.
hmm
I was born a poor black man. No, I'm not going to say that. So I am first and foremost, I am a child of the world of Disney. So I worked for the Disney Corporation for almost 7 years. It paid my way through college. And then I realized, though I love the world of Disney, it wasn't necessarily a career I wanted. And so I figured maybe I should graduate at some point. Had a little too much fun, let's just put it that way. And ended up finishing school in San Francisco, which propelled my career into technology sales and started as a recruiter and then moved into tech sales. And so did that for 25 plus odd years. And then in 2017, I just had it. You know, as sales professionals, I think you need to have passion in what you're doing. You have to believe in what you're doing. And though I believed in the company, I didn't believe in the rigmarole anymore. And so I took a package. So we were downsizing in our group. I was managing a telco account during the transition between 4 and 5G. So nothing was going on at that point. And oh yeah, one last thing. When you break out into hives every time you have a forecast call, that's probably a sign you might need to reevaluate your life. So fast forward, launch my own business. Always was a big fan of podcasting in general, and it's evolved. Used to have a business partner, close that business down because I didn't want to do studios anymore, and that shifted me towards social media and digital content creation, which is where I am today with my company. That's me in
Excellent.
a
Excellent.
nutshell.
So let's jump right to it. What do you mean when you say treat yourself like a business?
Mhm. Think about it. Anything you do to take care of yourself, your well-being, is an investment, right? Mentally, physically, financially, just like a business, right? Businesses have to maintain revenue. They have to market themselves. They have operations to maintain a well-oiled machine. You have to have processes in place, just like yourself, right? Wake up in the morning. What's your morning routine, right? There's usually a routine for all of us. We're humans. So when I expand on that, especially for those that are in their careers, is know who your board members are. Like, create your own board. And that's why I keep asking everybody. And it's one of my best like advices I give when I do speaking with women in leadership, for example, is to find who are the people who are going to be your mentors, who are going to be your coaches, who's going to be your advocates, and who are the peers that you can exchange ideas. And by the way, all those different like descriptors could be different people, same person, etc. So that's what I love to surround, and you should surround yourself with people that can help you along your life.
So, can you confirm for us what are the board roles you should seek to have filled?
Well, that's a great question. It depends, right? Because for the use purposes that you need at that point in time, you can have different boards for different aspects, right? So yes, there's a board for a company that does the overseeing of it all, and I tend to look at those folks as more my long term. These are the folks that typically are experienced in one way, shape, or form somewhere. But then there's also a board of, hey, I need some daily helps, right? And that is those folks that you could, just help you be more, efficient. Or my personal favorite, and I know Janice is in there. Thanks, Janice, is how to keep yourself in line. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I could squirrel very quickly and start talking about, underwater basket weaving, unless you have someone that's going to help you kind of guide you along and pull you back into place. So there are no titles per se, but I do think everyone has a place for you at certain times for that specific need, and they can serve multiple places. So don't know if that answered that question for you or not, Rob.
Absolutely. You answered it. That's all we're looking for. Your thoughts on it. So, building off of that a little bit, though, how is building a personal board different from just having a mentor or even a network?
So a board is an investment in one another. It's a two-way street, right? So I think there is a misnomer or assumption about mentorship that it tends to be I'm the, you're the Padawan, right? And I'm the Jedi, right? And not everyone's a Yoda. It's a two-way street where there is a benefit for both, right? So it's not just a parasitic relationship of like, okay, I'm going to coach you the next things in life if you're the mentor, and so I'm going to suck the energy out of you if I'm the mentee. And so I do encourage folks, when you're building your board, these are your go-to people that you can rely on and trust on, that can help you get yourself out of your own head. And I just posted on it this morning on LinkedIn, which is the perception between day and night. For example, I was standing on a balcony at my friend's condo this weekend, and I did a panorama view in the morning and I did a panorama view at night. Yes, I did spend the night. We don't talk about that. But anyway, but it was lovely to think about how your world changes, how your mind can flip to think about different things when you have someone else standing by your side to help you say, hey, move your camera frame this way. And then you see the world in a totally different way. And it's a reciprocation. What are you giving back to them? What's your value add that you're providing for them? And I think it's a lovely thing when you can find that core group of folks that are willing to work with you and you are willing to work with them.
So how do you choose those people? Because most people are more than happy to hand you advice, but there's no guarantee that that advice is good advice. And if you and I are in business together, we have the same kind of objectives. So we're going to be very mindful of how we get from where we are to where we want to be. But when you're talking to people who are outside of your immediate business, they may not have the same priorities that you have. So how do you select? You've got 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. You're building a board for the next phase of your business. Which of the 10,000 people do you pick?
So it's interesting that you should ask that. Sometimes it happens naturally. And look, peoples, I admit it. I get it. I'm an extrovert. Like I have a lot of great people I can lean to because I have no problems asking for that help. But ironically enough, I don't ask for help enough, which is funny. So there are people who naturally have become my mentors I have actually a handful that like thrust their way into my life saying, look, dude, we see what you're doing. Can I offer you some advice? And because of that, I've been eternally grateful for it. And then there's others where I just reached out of the blue saying, you know what? I've been following you on LinkedIn. You seem to have your, together. Can I bounce a couple of questions off you if you're open to it? And then it just kind of develops from there. So I would say sometimes things happen organically and sometimes you just got to make it happen. So how do I choose? It's usually you have to do a lot of you guys, come on. You have to do some searching within yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you like? What do you don't like? Right? Those are the basics in life. And if you know you've got weaknesses, then how do you fill in that gap? Who do you know in that circle can bolster you and inspire you to be better at that weakness? Right? Not fill in that gap. Sure, that helps at times. But like I said, Raquel, I'll give a shout out to Raquel. I've never met someone that is so truly authentic to who she is. And I am pretty much, you see what you get with me, but she does it with like warmth. Whereas I'm like a bull in a china shop kind of vibe. And it's just really interesting to me because she's so effective in being able to communicate, what she's looking to grow. And she's got almost like 80,000 like followers on LinkedIn, and she's done it organically. Like, and darned well, guys, there are some folks that will, pay to play to get some followers. but when she grew to 80,000 because of just the way she is, like I got attracted to that. Like, hey, how did you do it? What is it about you? Turns out she's a nice person. So apparently I'm not very nice because I only have 10,000 followers. I'm kidding.
We have some great comments and questions in the chat. I want to highlight a few of them right now.
Sure.
We have Martina O'Boyle who says, treat yourself like a business. Very smart strategy. We seem to be more willing to let ourselves slump, and we hire on sketchy people, but we'd never do that to our little shop. And then we have a great question from Tausi Brands. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
It is.
Do board members come and go? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes. I am a big advocate of respecting and understand that relationships have seasons. Just like businesses have seasons. There's, pre-rev stage. There's your, as a startup, right? There's pre-rev where you're still developing the product. Then there's going to be when you actually enter into the market space, right? The founder of a company doesn't mean they're going to be the CEO as it matures, as the company grows from scaling to maintenance, right? There's different skill sets that are going to be critical at those junctures. It doesn't diminish the value of that board member. It just simply means, hey, at this point in time, kind of leaning on you heavier for this. And as time goes on, hey, I love you, respect you, maybe leverage them elsewhere, or, as all things, give them a break, let them move on, right? So yeah, absolutely. You should be, I don't want to say have a constant rotation of board members, because you do want someone that's known you for the long term, but that's also what we were talking about, different levels of board members, right? For the different needs you have.
We have another question from the audience, and please keep them coming. Raquel Raque Flores. Have I earned the right to call her Raque yet?
Go for it.
We'll connect. We'll
Rob, you gotta go Rocky. You gotta trill the R.
Rocky. There we go. Roll the R. Got it. She asks, what about alignment? I love that question.
Syya, of course she would ask me that. Damn it. Of course she'd ask me that one. I'm going to talk to you later, girl. No, it's critical to have and make sure that, when you are working with your board and you're talking to them, right, you have to both be aligned with the goals of what you are looking for and what they're looking for, right? Because if it's not quite, it's almost like, it's communication, you guys. So if you're asking about one thing, but they're talking about a different topic and you're like, but I'm talking about, I talk about underwater basket weaving a lot, and yet I am sadly, woefully underskilled at it. But, if you're talking about underwater basket weaving, but you're thinking of it in the deep ocean, well, there's a lot of different requirements if you can do underwater basket weaving under the ocean versus in a stream, right? There's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of animals that can eat you, big scary ones. I mean, all sorts of different factors. So yeah, you're talking about underwater basket weaving, but are you really, right? And that's where I think just have to clarify. You have to be clear to the point where it's almost like over communicating at times, because to me, I don't think you could ever over communicate. It might annoy the person when you're like, hey, just want to clarify one more time. But to me, I'd rather we clarify than, honestly, I would say one of my biggest failures in my life has been I stopped communicating at certain points and the relationship failed because of it. Because I just, for whatever reason, stopped. And that's not the best route to go on things.
So yeah. You mentioned that you're an extrovert. For those of us
we wouldn't have spotted. We wouldn't have spotted.
For those of us that maybe align more with an introverted personality, what's the best way to approach someone and ask them to be on your board? Is it that formal? Does that happen?
You could be an introvert and still be just as like conversational like me. It's just the way you receive your energy, right? So, I think sometimes people confuse introversion with shyness, right? And I don't think that's necessarily the same thing, because I do know of a lot of introverts who can freaking talk all day. Benita Lee, if you ever want to talk to her, oh my God. But it's at the end of the day when they go home, are they drained, right? Because they had to push out their own internal energy to be able to, communicate with you. So I would say, even if you're an introvert, you absolutely can build your board, because most introverts probably have naturally built their own board that's, like solid, because you don't always have to be the life of party, but you can have a handful of friends that you can always like trust and work with. I think it's the same concept business wise.
I know this is one we touched upon when you and I met discussing this call. What happens when your network doesn't follow you into your next role or your next industry?
Okay. When I left my company in tech and started going into this, social media world, digital content creation, 100% of my friends dropped off, more or less, with the exception of like maybe 3 in my industry, like, 25 years of networking, and not one of them would support me. Like, not one of them, like, and they meant well. Don't worry, they're still my friends, but will I ever see them like liking or commenting on any of my posts, or like supporting any of the various YouTube channels, shows, and podcasts that I've produced for my clients? Hell no. So what do? Just know, understand that your tribe is your tribe for specific purposes and needs. Okay. You cannot expect, especially family. Family's like the worst failure. Hey, mom, dad, can you just like and subscribe to this YouTube channel? And they're like, what's a YouTube channel? Right? Like, look, the world, as much as we'd love it to be, doesn't evolve around you. Right. And you try, but everyone has priorities. So have a healthy understanding that your network, they will support you and love you in different ways, but may not necessarily directly be what you think you need. So I just out for my personal example, my network of friends have poo-pooed, made fun, and they still tease me. They're like, okay, influencer. And I'm like, I'm not an influencer, I'm a producer. But either way, they've given me gigs. They've connected me with people that have hired me. So they will help you in different ways, just maybe not the immediate thing you want, if that makes sense. And the ones that don't, screw them. I'm kidding.
No, but that is a really good attitude, because at the end of the day, you want to build, as you said, your tribe, and you want to take it with you, and you want those people to be part of your success and help you in your success. And sometimes, for whatever reason, they're not able to do so, and it's not normally a personal thing. But ultimately, you have a finite amount of energy and a finite amount of time, and you need to invest that where it's going to pay you the kind of return you want, whether that's a financial return or a happiness return or a contentedness return, whatever. You need to put it where you're actually going to get something back, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I see all these comments, by the way. Thank you, you guys. Hey, Chase and hey, Sin. Like, I love you guys. When you develop a relationship with anyone, there is a give and take, and there's a give that you will give oftentimes. And sometimes there's times to take and sometimes times to give. And I think when you're building that board, you guys understand, as we talked about, you need to have some value to give back to them as well. It's not just you being an ask hole, right? It's not you. Oh yeah. I love that word and I will use it every day.
I do. That's made it into my vocabulary immediately.
Oh,
I saw that light bulb right over your head.
There are people out there that will just take from you and do not have one iota of like awareness that they're totally taking from you, right? So I think when you're asking again, you're just like pulling these, questions back in my brain, which is, how do you pick? Sometimes, like I say, it's organic. When you've been giving and they give back to you, and then you have this wonderful exchange. Find those friends. Those are the ones that are going to challenge you. And maybe because I love a good intellectual debate conversation about random topics. Again, underwater basket weaving. Should it be deep floor or should it be like, in a stream? Those to me are the fun conversations. But those are the people that will always lift you up. It's not the people that are going to be gossiping and now don't get me wrong. It's kind of fun to gossip, let me just say. But if you live in positivity and you're looking for the next best thing as far as how to grow yourself personally or your business, you're going to naturally grow with them because you're constantly putting yourself in that mindset of growth.
I know another thing we touched on, because a lot of the people that tune into Sales TV are early in their sales career. How can building a board early help you avoid that disconnect later in life?
Build your board now. In fact, all of my nieces and nephews are all millennials and Gen Zs. And although I just found out my oldest nephew is 35, I think I just had a heart attack just realizing that. But do it now, because your board will always evolve, and your friends that you had in your 20s may not be your friends 20 years from now, or you don't talk to them in your 30s, but suddenly in your 40s they come back into your life, but you've always maintained some type of contact. Touch base with each other, because you never know. And it's shocking to me, and I would like to think it's a testament of, like, at least my judgment of our circle of friends. There's quite a few friends that we have that have, quote, made it, right? And I'm just like, good on you people. Like, can you throw some dough my way though? But no, okay, no. But it is, when you know that over time and your circle of friend and tribe and board grows and evolves, and you're gonna naturally have some, quote, professional successes. And don't get me wrong, you could be a stay-at-home person, male or female, raising family, and still be just as successful because of the things and the wisdom and what you've learned. To me, I find that people like that are operationally efficient people. They have this incredible understanding of time management and patience beyond, what they probably should have. And that's something that I always admire, is like, make sure, doesn't matter, even if you're starting out in your career or you're tenured like us, you could talk to anyone, even some in the beginning of the career, especially now. Like, I don't understand, like, half the, like, buzzwords. I jokingly say TFTI, but apparently that's an old millennial saying now. I'm not even hip enough for the Gen Zers, like, with bruh. Like, I don't know. Like, oh, I heard dude is coming back. I'm like, dude never went out. Let me just be clear here. But yeah, no, I mean, but it is good. You guys build your board always. I think that's maybe my answer to that is always be building your board. Always be circulating and leveraging and absorbing. Stay curious with your board too. Don't assume just because you had someone on your board for 20 plus years, there's nothing else to ask. Hell yeah, there is.
So picking up off of what we were just talking about, we probably have time for one more question. How do you use LinkedIn authentically to grow your board without being cringeworthy?
So it's funny you should mention that. I have a new live stream I just launched that's bi-weekly on Saturdays, and it's called LinkedIn Lunatics Strike Back. And what we do, it's if you know Reddit, there's a subreddit called LinkedIn Lunatics, and what they do is they highlight these like oh my gosh, these like LinkedIn posts that good, bad, ugly, and different. They make it on there. So you probably don't want to be making it on the LinkedIn Lunatics Reddit subreddit. But just be yourself. I don't have the biggest of following, but I can assure you my network has sustained my business. Like, I've never had to slide into DMs and be like, your content is good, but your SEO sucks. Like, don't do that. Don't pitch slap, right? Like, in fact, don't slide in DMs in general unless you know the person and you're just like, dude, I'm trying to get a hold of you, right? I mean, I slid in an Adam's DM saying, do so-and-so next. But he understands that's like, I'm not trying to benefit anything. I actually am, because I want you to talk about certain bands, but never mind. But it's just, don't be pitching yourself. It's not about you. And I think that's a big thing about LinkedIn. Sure, you are building your personal brand. You're building who you are. Share things about yourself, but also remember at the same time, this is the benefit of other people to get to know you. And we get bored of people who like brag about themselves or I pump up at the gym. Do you? You know what I mean? There's one guy that posted, I work out in Gucci because you need to represent everywhere you go. And I'm like, that's a good one. Like, hopefully he was joking.
Yeah,
Hopefully he was joking.
But people read that and they know everything they need to know about that individual, don't they?
I mean,
and that's kind of the point about being authentic. You put yourself out there. And I always think that the key thing here is that if you are authentic, you will draw some people to you and you will push some people away. And that's exactly how it should be. There's a billion people on LinkedIn. You don't want to have DMs from all of them. What you want is the people that love you. And when you can use it to identify those people, so those people walk towards you, that's where you should be investing your time, isn't it?
100%. That's why I strongly recommend everyone with your board, as well as your efforts as you search for them, either in IRL, in real life, and or LinkedIn. You can't be anything but yourself. Right. And I think that's where you get the deeper connections when we do know your flaws. Like you said, Adam, we know where you stand. Right. Like, fine. If you're into working out in Prada, go for it. It tells me that, we probably wouldn't be hanging out because I like my Costco yoga clothes. You know what I mean? So, at least you know where you stand. And I think that's how you also can find that tribe, right? Like the real tribe.
Yeah,
absolutely. Syya, I'm sure we could go on for hours, and I would love to. This has been great. How can people learn more about you? Where can they get in touch with you?
You can always find me on LinkedIn, you guys. I'm like, there are weeks I'm literally like, even as a producer, or I'm like hosting for my clients or my own personal shows. There's every other week or so, I'm on LinkedIn every freaking day, like for whatever reason. So you can always get a hold of me there. If you're gonna DM me, just be yourself. Please don't be a creep. Don't be the shake that bounces in and out every now and then. And don't ask me for money, because I'm not going to give it to you. I don't even give myself money, so you're not going to get it either. But yeah, absolutely, LinkedIn is probably the best place to go. And I'm always happy to answer questions, as long as you're not an asshole about it.
There we go.
Boom, boom.
If you liked what you heard today, please take a moment to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Substack, or YouTube. Let us know what you learned. Let us know what you'd like to learn more about. Your feedback helps us reach more people like you and fulfill our mission of elevating the profession of sales. This has been another edition of Sales TV Live. On behalf of everyone at Sales TV, to our guest Syya, and to our audience, thank you for being an active part of today's conversation.